Before we dive in, let me tell you a story. I used to be the guy who sent 4 texts in a row, only to delete them before she could even read them. I lost sleep over a girl who didn't respond on time, but eventually I realized losing my composure didn't make me more attractive. It only made me lose myself. You ever stop chasing her, and suddenly she starts chasing you? She used to take hours to reply. Now she double texts you. You didn't change the game. You just stopped playing it. Welcome to the Stoic mind. In a world where attention is currency, withdrawal becomes power. And when a man no longer gives his attention freely, he becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability shakes the female psyche more than any insult, lie, or argument. The moment she realizes you no longer seek her approval, she begins to question her own value in your eyes. And that is where her real reaction begins. Today we dive deep, not into manipulation, but into detachment, into discipline, into power. He who angers you conquers you. Epictetus. In today's dating world, especially in the US, attention is abundant, but connection is scarce. Apps like Tinder, Instagram, and TikTok have created a new normal. Women are constantly exposed to male attention. A simple post, a selfie, or even a comment can bring instant validation from hundreds of men. But there's a paradox here. The more attention she gets, the less she values it. Now enter you, a man who begins to pull back, not because you're playing games, but because you've chosen not to place your peace at the mercy of another person's validation. Suddenly, your absence speaks louder than 1,000 compliments. And this right here is what disturbs her. She doesn't panic because you left. She panics because you didn't beg to stay. This is not about ego. It's about power dynamics. When a man becomes emotionally independent, it disrupts the balance most women are used to. Because in the modern dating market, men chase and women choose. But when the man stops chasing, she is forced to confront a truth she rarely faces. Was he genuinely into me? Or was I just used to being chased? And that question creates a void she's not used to sitting with. 1. The Stoic perspective, mastery of self and emotion. In Stoic philosophy, one of the core principles is, we cannot control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. Epictetus, or as Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Now apply this to modern dating. Most men operate from a place of emotional reaction. She takes too long to reply. He double texts. She posts something provocative. He validates it with a fire emoji. She starts to pull away. He chases even harder. But the Stoic man doesn't react. He observes. Because he knows that every time you react emotionally, you surrender your power. You hand over your self-worth to someone else. Often someone who doesn't even know what they truly want. And this is where most men lose themselves. When you place your emotional balance in someone else's hands, you start living in anxiety. Does she still like me? Did I say too much? If I don't text first, will I lose her? That's not love. That's dependency. And true love cannot grow from emotional dependency. The Stoic man understands something most men never learn. Silence is the most powerful response. When she starts playing games, he doesn't play along. Not because he doesn't care, but because he values peace over chaos. Instead of sending 10 messages to get her attention, he sends one message through his absence. I'm already full. I don't need to chase what's not meant for me. Detachment is not indifference. It is clarity. It is knowing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. It is when principle, not emotion, governs behavior. Being stoic doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't let your feelings control you. It means you can feel disappointment, hurt, rejection, and still not act out of desperation or insecurity. A man rooted in Stoicism will tell himself, "She is free to walk away. I am free to remain grounded. I don't need to manipulate anyone to be loved. I'm not just a nice guy. I'm a man with standards." And this calm presence, this silence, it's what confuses her most. 2, her reaction when she realizes you've lost interest. At first, she won't say anything. She'll notice the shift in small things. You're replying slower. Your tone is colder. You no longer initiate like before. In her mind, a quiet alarm goes off, but she silences it. Maybe he's just busy. Maybe I'm overthinking. But deep down, she feels it. The energy isn't the same. The validation isn't there. And here's the uncomfortable truth. She never thought she'd have to chase you. Most modern women, especially in Western culture, are used to being pursued. Attention is constant. DMs are full. Options are endless. So when a man starts to pull away, her brain doesn't interpret it as he's tired. It interprets it as I'm losing control. And here's what happens when a woman feels she's losing control. She tests you. She provokes you emotionally. She posts something suggestive to see if you'll react. She withholds affection to see if you'll chase. But when the stoic man doesn't flinch, doesn't chase, doesn't react, it creates psychological tension. And here's why. She was never in love with just you. She was in love with how you made her feel about herself. Now you're no longer giving her that feeling, so she spirals, not because she misses you, but because she misses who she was when she had your attention. And that's when the masks fall off. You'll see one of 2 versions. 1, the emotionally immature woman. She panics, she attacks, she might guilt trip, shame, or even insult you to get a reaction. But deep down, it's not hate, it's fear. Fear that she no longer has power over your emotional state. 2, the emotionally mature woman. She notices, she reflects, she either adapts to your pace or she walks away with grace. She doesn't beg, doesn't manipulate, because she understands if he's losing interest, it's not personal, it's directional. And here's the key difference. One tries to reclaim control, the other accepts what she cannot control. The moment you stop reacting is the moment she meets the mirror. Not of who you are, but of who she is when she can no longer control you. 3, applying Stoicism in modern dating. Power through detachment. Stoicism isn't about being cold. It's not about pretending not to care. It's about caring with boundaries, loving without losing yourself. In today's dating world, especially in the US, most men either overinvest too soon, giving their time, energy, and attention to someone who hasn't earned it. Or they try to play games to protect their ego, using manipulation and passive-aggressive silence. Both are weak positions, because both are based on emotional neediness. The Stoic man chooses a third path, emotional sovereignty. He doesn't chase, he assesses. He doesn't try to convince her to stay. He observes if she deserves to. He doesn't make decisions based on attraction alone. He evaluates, does this connection bring me peace, or does it cost me energy? Here's how the Stoic man applies his philosophy in dating. 1. He doesn't rush intimacy. He understands that emotional access is more valuable than physical, so he guards his inner world. He lets people earn their way into his life, not charm their way in. 2. He speaks less, observes more. He doesn't overshare early on to prove he's different. He lets patterns reveal character, not words. 3. He leads with calm energy. Whether a date goes amazing or awkward, he remains centered. He's not trying to win anything. He's trying to see what aligns. 4. He's okay with loss. If she leaves, he doesn't panic, because he knows what's meant for me can't be lost, and what's lost was never mine. This is not coldness. This is power. The power to remain whole in a world that profits off your desperation. In a world that trains men to chase attention and approval, the Stoic man is dangerous because he's unavailable to the game. And ironically, that's exactly what makes women lean in. Not because he's playing hard to get, but because he doesn't need to be got at all. 4. When a Stoic man pulls back. Let's paint a picture. You meet her. She's beautiful, charismatic, and used to being pursued. At first, you're interested. You text her consistently, you show effort, you lead. She responds, but slowly. She keeps you waiting, flirts inconsistently, plays hot and cold. You notice it, but you don't panic. You continue showing up with honesty and presence, but you also pay attention to patterns. And one day it hits you. She enjoys the attention more than the connection. Now here's where most men would double down. They'd start proving their worth, chasing harder, asking, did I do something wrong? But you shift, not emotionally, but energetically. You stop initiating. You stop texting first. You stop giving her the emotional rush she was feeding on, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And that's when the tables turn. Suddenly she notices. She texts first. She sends a good morning just to check if you're still there. She even asks, did I do something wrong? But now you're not reacting. You're not cold. You're just centered, grounded, observing. You don't ghost her. You don't play games. You simply give her less because she's earned less. Now she's confused. She was in control. Now she's not. And in that discomfort, she starts to realize, maybe I'm not as emotionally mature as I thought. And you've already moved on, not to punish her, but because peace became more important than potential. 5. Power, peace, and the Stoic mind. In the end, it's not about her reaction. It's not about winning a game. It's not even about getting her back. It's about reclaiming your center. You see, most men spend their lives chasing the response instead of living by their values. They seek validation instead of alignment, attention instead of truth. But the Stoic man, he's different. He knows, if a connection costs me my peace, it's too expensive. He doesn't walk away to create absence. He walks away to honor presence, his own, because true masculinity isn't measured by how loud you are, but by how still you can remain in the noise. When she realizes you've lost interest, her world shifts, not because you withdrew, but because you didn't need her to feel whole. And that's what makes you magnetic. Not your looks, not your money, not your words, but your unshakable presence. So remember, you don't have to fight for love. You don't have to beg for attention. And you never have to lose yourself trying to prove your worth. Be still, be grounded, be stoic, because the man who no longer chases is the man who is always remembered. If this message resonates with you, let it sink in. And if you've ever been in this position, quietly pulling back to protect your peace, share your experience in the comments. You never know who needs to hear your story today. Welcome to the Stoic path, not to be cold, but to be whole.